after last weekend, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot deal with any more technical issues. And we're only on episode 4. Driving me nuts.
All right. So we're ready to get going. We're ready? Yes.
All right. Yeah, I think we're ready.
I did just take a protein shake, so hopefully it doesn't make my voice sound like.
Well, I woke up this morning with like a scratchy throat. But also every time I go to mom and dad's, it's like something the way the vent like hits that bed. I always come back with like a cough or something. So hopefully I don't sound like hopefully I don't sound
you
like
just smoked
ill.
a pack of cigs.
Yeah, or like nasally or like nasty. But what are you gonna do?
You're nasty. Nasty girl.
No, yo, nasty.
All right. Well, welcome back to Case of the Mondays. If you made it this far and you're on episode 4, I'd consider you a frequent flyer at this point. So
yeah, thank you guys.
welcome. We have some good stories today, and actually we have a really funny story about this recording because we actually have already recorded it once. So this is take 2.
Yeah. No, we literally recorded a fire episode. Like, I'm so excited to edit it. We recorded in person for the first time. There's already difficulties with that. We ended up just Zooming each other in the same room. But we made it work. So we thought, and then I get on the train to head back home and I'm like, oh my gosh, like Jordan's audio wasn't working. And like, so it sounds like I'm just having a conversation with myself. So we're like, screw it. We're just doing it over. It's going to be great.
So now we're back. So technically it should be even better than the first time.
Yeah, we had a really good run through, I think. So I already told Jordan this. My first story when we recorded, it was mostly just us like complaining about Clayton and Peyton. But I actually have a real story. So it's something I think you have heard before, but it'll be brand new. So hopefully the reactions are okay.
Okay.
But
all right.
We're not just like redoing the same podcast, but it'll be
right.
Great.
Yeah. So no, it'll be good. I'm ready. Yeah. Hopefully you bring some more surprises. So yeah. Well, tell me about your week. So Ash was in Kansas City for a wedding. She worked a wedding with me. Mm-hmm. Worked a wedding Saturday. It was some people that went to school with us. We didn't really know them super well, but we saw a lot of people from high school. Like it was kind of felt like a high school reunion a little bit, which was fun. It was cool.
I loved it. I realized that I am like one of the only people that like actually looks forward to like their high school reunion. Like even if I wasn't really good friends.
Yeah, it's people, just you. Nobody.
It's just me. I get excited to see anyone, especially now that I work from home and I see like the same one person. I'm like, oh my God, so what are you up to? Like, what are you doing? But it was good to see everyone. I have their first dance song stuck in my head. Before this. Yeah, Cowboys and Angels. It was a really beautiful ceremony. They did such a good job. So it was so much fun.
No, it was fun. We both have day jobs, and then I have a videography, like I do photo and video work on the side. Mm-hmm. And it's cool because it's kind of, we try to not overbook it to where we're like really burnt out on it. So my goal is to do like 1 a month, but now we've gotten so busy that in the fall we do like 2 to 3 a month. So, but Ash, it's cool that Ashton's close because she gets to come in and work with me, and we get to be a fly on the wall at weddings, which I think some people don't ever get the opportunity to do. It's like a whole different experience when you're not drinking and dancing and in the moment, because you get to be at like a fly on the wall and see everything. So that's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm like not engaged, not married yet. So it's fun for me to like pick up different like tips or like, oh, I loved this about this wedding. Oh, I would do that differently. So it's fun to look at it from that lens, but also makes me nervous for when I actually do get married. I already know before I started filming with you, I think I was already going to be a bridezilla. Now it's going to be like, I'm going to have to remind myself like, okay, it's not just about me today. It's also about the man, or like, it's going to be fun. So I love it. I love being there for the whole process of like everyone getting ready to like the speeches and the ceremony. Like it's so fun.
It's cool. And I will say like for me, just cause like I've seen so many of these, I'm glad I got married before I started doing this, because you get like numb to like the process, right? Like it's not like this big magical thing anymore, because you're just like, yep, okay, and there's the bouquet toss, and there's the like, you're just kind of like, I've seen
it is
like
a formula.
Yeah, it's a formula, and we've done it 100 times. But it's I still like it because I think that's why I don't overdo it. Like I don't overbook because I feel like I would get burnt out. Granted, I could make more money, but I like it because it's like, what, it keeps you humble, and it keeps you like, it's just cool to see like, especially young couples that are like they're really, passionate, and I like when they do custom vows, I think is always really cool. And like the anniversary dances are cool when you see couples that have been together for like 50 something years. Like that's super cool to me. So it's always cool to just meet interesting people along the way.
And it is funny. I'm like, somehow, so I've only done a few weddings with Jordan, and I think most of those have been like family friends or like friends of ours, or people like the one we did this weekend where it's like we knew the family pretty good. And somehow, even for those weddings, especially, but also strangers, I get very choked up during the father-daughter dance. And I don't, it could be a stranger. And once they start crying, once I see dad cry, I'm like, I'm done. I got to get out of here. But this
it's true though.
Yeah, this is the last thing I'll say about the wedding because I thought it was so fun. I don't know if I would do this, but they did a fake first look between one of the groomsmen and the groom, and it was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like it was awesome.
We all set it up very serious, and we're like, okay, here she comes. And
because how I was set up, the groom could see me, so he's facing backwards, opposite of the fake bride. He could see me, and I'm like, Ashton, don't laugh. Don't
ruin it.
Don't chuckle. Don't ruin this. And he's like, when do I turn? And I'm like, I don't know. So
she'll tap you on your shoulder. Yeah. So everybody else, like awesome. Ashton was the one person that had to keep a straight face.
Which I'm horrible at. Oh my God.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
So,
but
so yeah. Funny. So, we did the wedding speak. And also I told Ashton about, how I recently, learned who JoJo Siwa was.
And I was shocked because I'm like, she owns the internet. I don't understand how you didn't know.
I was like, who is that? And then I dove down the rabbit hole and I realized that she actually is kind of a big deal.
She is an icon. She's a legend. She is the moment.
But if I said, do you have name a JoJo Siwa song?
I've never heard a JoJo Siwa song. Mm-hmm. I don't think I even follow her on TikTok, but like, yeah, no, she is amazing. And when we first recorded this, we went down not a deep rabbit hole. I'll keep it short for now because there's one other thing I need to tell Jordan after this. But I was like, oh yeah, like she did that makeup video and I think it was with James Charles. And Jordan says, who's James Charles? I'm like, okay, we don't have enough time to go through this and his scandals.
I also still haven't looked up who that is. So you're
going to lose your mind. That's your homework before next episode because we won't dive into that.
I need to be more updated on things. But so the reason I was like, I've come across her before and then, I'm like, who is this? Dive down the rabbit hole. And then I find her TikTok and now I'm down I'm like discovering who this person is. And the reason it sparked my interest is because I have friends who have little girls and they had a concert in Kansas City and whatever. And it's like all these little girls that are like freaking out over her. And I'm like, who is that? What is this girl? Like, I don't know who this is. Then I dive down the rabbit hole. And then I really enjoy the videos where like, these moms are like angry because she's gay. And it's like hilarious to me because I'm like, do you think your kid like becomes gay because they listen to that song?
They're going to catch it, Jordan.
Yeah. And she even
epidemic.
She told a story about how a mom tweeted her that day and was like, hey, we're going to be at your show tonight. Just like do me a favor and don't mention that you're gay. Which like, who does that? Like who? I don't know.
Very weird. You're going to a concert. You're one of thousands of people. Also,
do me a favor. And she
instead
was like, so Karen, I'm going to do you a favor. And she whips out like her rainbow flag. And it's like, I won't say it.
She's so funny.
Like,
that's what I was saying.
Hilarious.
With the James Charles video, he was giving her a makeover or something. And he had said, oh yeah, you get like a lot of hate on TikTok and on the internet. And I don't know if she was out by this point. But it was most people making fun of like her side ponytail. And she was basically like, I mean, yeah, like I'm 16 with a side ponytail and I'm balding. Like I would laugh ridiculous. At me too. She's just so funny. Big fan of her.
I mean, you have to be funny though, right? Because, and then I'm telling Peyton this and he also didn't know who the hell she was, of course. And I was like, well, yeah, like, she's gay and there's people that don't let their kids listen to her. And we like are laughing because we're like, oh, my son can't listen to her. He may become a lesbian. God. I'm just like, you know what? If you were the kind of person that like, I don't know, like you think you're going to sway your kids in like their sexuality or something and they're like 2 or 3 years old, like you need to grow up, and you probably shouldn't have had kids. And if that
Yeah.
offends you, please don't listen to our podcast. So
If you're
just
not
saying.
gay, stop listening. No,
We only want
actually.
the gays.
Oh my God.
No,
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
saying. I don't know, not to like veer anyone away, but it's just like, you know what? We like people of all shapes and sizes. And if you're
Mhm.
here to make comments about not letting your children listen to JoJo Siwa because you're afraid they'll be gay.
This is a JoJo Siwa Stan podcast.
Sorry, we're shifting gears. It's actually a JoJo Siwa podcast.
Case of the
Kidding,
Siwa.
no. Case of the Siwa. Oh my God. You want to get a Siwa tattoo when you come in town next?
I want no tattoos.
Especially that one.
Oh my God. One time, I'll just say it. One time when I was in college, Jordan called me. I'm like a freshman in college. So I'm like freshly 18. And Jordan's like, hey, Ashton, I saw this really cool picture of like sister tattoos. Like, what do you think? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that's really cute. Like that would look really cute on you. And she says, well, are you gonna get it? I'm like, no. She's
and
like,
I was
sister.
like, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna get a sister tattoo alone, so ignore this idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea for you. I'll watch.
And I honestly, I think it's more the needles that you're afraid of.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like less about, I mean, I think, you know, for me, even I like picking where to put a tattoo is hard, right? But it's more about, I think for Ashton, for me, it's more like, I don't know where to put it. Cause like I have a couple ideas, no idea where to put them and I'm cheap. So that's another reason. But also Ashton, I think is more of the, I don't like needles and it looks like it hurts and I don't want to get it. So
yeah. I don't like needles and I change my mind all the time. And so I feel like I have had the same haircut and color for 10 years. No, probably more like 15 years now.
I think I was gonna say
so yeah, I don't live life on the edge. I don't really switch it up. But yeah, no, totally cool. Totally sounds like a great idea for somebody
so
else.
Ashton was very supportive in me getting a sister tattoo alone. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get like, you know, the ones where it's like 2 birds and your one is colored in and her other one's colored in. Like, I'm not going to get that. And then no one else has the other birds. Like, well, it's ridiculous.
We've joked about, because our mom is just like me, where we're just like, oh, I don't know. Like, yeah, go do whatever. And we have joked about if we were to do a sister mother one, Jordan would go first and then mom and I would go, oh, actually, I changed my mind. And then you'd be stuck. So
that's what would happen. Like if in a I know mom's listening because she listens every week.
Hey mom.
Hey mom. I know
she's gonna be like exactly right.
Yeah, we have hypothetically been like, you know what? Because we have like some friends that have done that, and it's a really cool idea. And we're like, I wonder if we could ever even get mom to even think about that, or to get Ashton to think about that. Really, it's just me. Like, I wonder if they would even consider it. And I'm like, you know what? If that happened, that's exactly what Ashton said. Like, they would chicken out. Like we would get there and then they would be like, I actually want a different design.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I'm not crazy about it on the body. Yeah. Oh my God.
They would get a temporary.
Yeah, I'd be like, I just want to test it out. Or my favorite thing that you told me, you were talking to my mom, not your mom. You were talking to mom about this.
Our mom.
Yeah, our mom. No, my mom. You're talking to mom about this. And she was like, well, you know, if I had to, gun to my head, get a tattoo.
And, like, and I was like, when would that ever be a situation?
No.
It's so funny though, because it's like, well, if I had to get a tattoo, if I had to, it'd be something for you girls. And I'm like, well, in what world would someone have a gun to your head saying you're getting a tattoo, or
is
it
us? Like, do you love us, mom?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just goofy.
It's so funny. Oh man. Well, yeah. So count us out on the sister tattoos.
No, I had one more question because I had one more thing that I did today that I knew you would roast me for. But have you given up anything for Lent this year?
You mean as it's almost Easter?
Yeah. Or did you forget about it?
I forget every year, and then I just say things that I don't like. Like I'm like, yeah, I gave up ketchup.
Yeah, I gave up cabbage this year.
Like I gave up cigarettes, and like I don't smoke.
You've never smoked? Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I gave up cigarettes, and it's like good for you. And then but like the other person doesn't know that I don't smoke, so I've never.
They're like, that's really nice for you, and you're like, thank you.
Yeah, it was a really big step. I like to do that with strangers, but for you, I'll just tell you, I completely forgot about it.
Yeah,
So
that's
did
okay.
you give up anything?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same where I always forget and I'll be a couple days in, or like this year it was literally Ash Wednesday and I'm like, oh my gosh, what haven't I done today? And like I don't want to give up. I not like I'm a big drinker, but like I don't want to give up that. Don't want to give up like sugar. That's tough. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give up buying clothes, specifically clothes. And of course, that's every single ad I get on Instagram is for things. So, and I'll still
Because they
scroll through
knew.
them. They know me so good. And I'm like, I didn't think I was like a big like shopper, like clothes shopper until now I get on these ads and I'm like, oh God, like 4 weeks until I can make a purchase again. But this morning I didn't buy clothes, but I caved because my goal for 25 is to get rid of my forehead wrinkles. And you guys you can't see us, but like genetically, mom not really. Mom has her special secrets. We have like Wi-Fi foreheads, like, and so my goal is to get rid of them, especially like if I don't raise my eyebrows, like I don't want anything to be there. So I just purchased these this morning and they're called frownies. Have you heard of
Excuse
these?
me?
Have you heard of these?
I need you to fully describe this.
So it's basically this thing. They're like little patches. And I've seen them. I've known about them for a couple months now and I've been wanting to purchase them, but just like haven't gotten around to. But today I was like, I need to buy something. And it's like this little patch that you wet, put on your forehead, and they have special ones for your forehead, your crow's feet, like around your mouth. You wet it, kind of like stick it on, and then you go to sleep and it creates like a cast on your face. So like you literally I didn't know I was moving my eyebrows in my sleep, but apparently I am. And then I guess if you use them for like 30 days, it just smooths everything.
Wow.
So I know what a weird
like science.
what a weird thing to buy as a treat to myself.
Also, like how deep, I just want to know. I mean, I hope it works and I hope you achieve your anti-wrinkle goal. But I think
what a weird goal. I don't know why.
That's not like your goal for your 25th year of life
is to get rid of my forehead wrinkles. Yes.
That's all right. I believe in you.
Of all the things I could do. No, thank you.
It's okay. I mean, it's fine. I'm not here to judge. How much did you have to research to find this product?
You know, surprisingly, not a lot. Surprisingly, my TikTok knows me very well. And I got like an ad or like a video and it was like, you think Ashton would be into this? And I'm like, of course I am. Because I watch all the Botox videos.
A forehead wrinkle TikTok.
Yep. So exciting stuff over here.
Wow. I can really tell that you don't leave your house often.
No. And also that's the point is like, who am I getting rid of these wrinkles for? Just me.
For your team's meetings.
Yeah. That are already blurred out. And I'm like, hey.
Hey.
Yeah. So that's very excited about that.
Well, you'll have to keep me updated. And,
yeah.
Maybe you can share.
If we make an Instagram, I'll do some before and afters. Because the Instagram might be up by then.
Maybe like Frownies if you want to be a sponsor.
Frownies sponsor us. Yeah. So that's my big exciting.
That's your plug. That's your Frownies plug.
Yeah. No free ads. I bleep it out because I'm like, no, you guys don't get the secret.
We like beep the.
We're gatekeeping, girl bossing, and I don't know the rest of it.
We do need a sponsor. If any of you have, you can pay us in a high five if you want. I don't know.
This episode sponsored by Mom. She let me stay this weekend for free. It was awesome. So Jordan and I joke in this episode, like, oh, we're doing ads, we're doing fake ads. And this, like, honestly is not even an ad. It's just something that Clayton and I are super excited about and I want to share with you guys. So Clayton has developed an app called Guess Again Game. And it's basically Wordle, but you can play as many times as you want. I've been obsessed with it for like a week now, have not gotten the same word twice somehow. And you can also link it up to your email and your Facebook, and you can like challenge your friends directly. My mom has absolutely been crushing me. I'm kind of mad at her because I'm like, hey, I showed you this game, but it is so fun. Guess Again Game on the App Store. You can download it right now. I promise you guys are going to love it. Challenge your friends, challenge me. Hopefully I can crush you guys. Also, while you guys are rating and reviewing our show, Case of the Mondays, don't forget to rate and review Guess Again Game on the App Store. It really helps us out and we really appreciate it. I hope you guys like it, and back to the show. Okay. Um, I can go first. This is new from the episode that we recorded, but got ruined. So I'm excited to tell this to you.
Okay.
So I work from home full time, have been like since COVID started. And my boyfriend, there was a period, like a 2-week period that he was working from home, but now he's fully in office, has been for like a very long time because he works in construction. When he was home, it was like, so we live in a 1 bedroom. And so basically, like my quote office is also the kitchen and is also the living room. So we would have to like trade off on the desk. And Clayton, he's very nice. And we talked a little bit about this. He can get very like obsessive with things. He knows this about himself.
So you would say this to his face. Okay.
And I have literally told him to his face, I was like, so happy you don't do drugs because he has an addictive personality and he knows it. He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And so he's been like obsessed with Rocket League for like years since college. And he's really good at it because it's the only thing he plays.
It's like an online game, right? Where it's like soccer with cars.
It's soccer.
He's
with
gonna
cars.
like hate me for like really dumbing down what it is, but in the simplest form, it's soccer with cars online.
Sometimes they fly. I don't know what that. I don't know how they do that. It's crazy.
How do cars fly? I don't know.
And so in our apartment, he like we have this really big TV and it's awesome, but he only likes to play at the desk that I work at. So during that 2-week period that we were both working from home, we would trade off. Like we'd be nice to each other. And it's like, hey, I have a meeting. Like, can I take the desk? Or I'm super busy. Like, can I take the desk for a couple hours and then we'll switch and I'll move to the couch or something. So we were kind of in this rhythm. And sometimes Clayton would have like a really busy day or like the next day he might have a pretty light day. And so I would be working and Clayton would be like, it'd be like 2:00 and he's like, can I play Rocket League? I'm like, no, I'm trying to pay the bills here. No, you can't play Rocket League. I'm working. Like my days, if I'm done working and I'm just watching TV, like, oh my gosh, by all means, it does not bother me at all. Play all night, play however long you want. But if it's during my work day, I'm like, are you kidding me? And how Rocket League works is like you're playing against players. So like you can't really pause the game.
It's online. Yeah. So
it's
you can't
online.
Pause. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also seasons and you can earn achievements during seasons. So Clayton will tell me, he's like, Ashton, I got up to champ 2 this week. And I'm like, oh my gosh, congratulations.
And you're like really proud. I would be like, I have no idea what that means.
I
but
mean,
cool.
I tell him, I'm like, Clayton, that is really cool for you. And he's like, okay, I know.
You sound like a mom. You're like, I'm so proud of you, honey, for your video game achievement.
I know, literally. And he's like, he'll be like, Ashton, do you want to see the cool car, the cool upgrade I just got? And I'll peek and be like, that's really cool. That's awesome. Wow. And he's like, which one's your favorite? And I'll be like, I have to leave the conversation. I can't do this. But we're very proud. And so, like I said, so we have this giant TV, but he only likes to play at the desk. And I'm like, Clayton, why don't you play on this beautiful TV that we have? And he's like, it's too big. I'm like, really? I thought for video games, like the bigger the TV, the better. Like, I don't understand this. But he's like, it's hard.
I thought size does matter.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently not. No, he wants to play on this little teeny tiny computer.
So he can see everything.
Monitor, so he can see everything. And I'm like, seems like you're cheating. Whatever. And so there was one instance where we're both working from home. And I had told him, I was like, okay, like I have a meeting. I have my one-on-one with my manager at the time. And like, I need the desk. And he's like, okay, yeah, like he's playing a game, whatever. And I'm like, okay, 10 minutes till my meeting, just giving you a heads up. Like,
what a mom. Perfect. Like you're like 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I mean, I would be mad too. I would be very mad. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So 5 minutes till meeting. I'm like, hey, 5 minutes. Like, can you wrap it up? And he's like, I just started a new game. And I'm like, okay, well, I have my meeting with my manager and my camera
with my boss.
With my boss. And my camera will be on because my camera's always on. So wrap it up, bozo. And so 3 minutes till 2 minutes till I'm like, scoot over. I'm moving to the desk. I'm not taking this call. And he's like, but Ashton, like I'm in the middle of a tournament. Like, oh my God. And I'm like, quit. quit. I'm trying to do my job
And
right
you're like,
now,
I don't
dude.
give a shit. This is my boss. Am I going to
I
say,
was
sorry, my boyfriend was playing the video game?
yeah, I was so angry. He didn't stop. He didn't stop playing.
So did you take the call next to him? Or did you have to
Yes.
go in the other room?
No, because I need a desk. Like I'm not gonna
Well, yeah,
hold
your
my
boss would be like,
laptop.
are you in bed? Like, what are you
Yeah, like
doing?
your camera's moving. And I'm like, yeah, because I have to freaking because my boyfriend's playing video games. Yeah. So literally what we did, I was like, get your butt up, get out of the chair. I have my meeting. And so I like 2 minutes till I get all set up, I flip my meeting on. And Clayton is literally standing next to me. Luckily, he's out of frame. I was like, if you get in this frame, Lord have mercy on you. Get out. I'm like, I don't even want you to play the video game right now. He continued to play through my meeting, standing next to me, looking at the computer monitor that was next to me while I'm having my one-on-one. And I just hear click, 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 click the whole time. And I'm just
Oh
hoping, I'm like, I
my
hope
God.
Steven doesn't hear this. Yeah, I was so angry with him. We had a great meeting, it was fine, but of course I'm like frazzled. It was hard to focus.
When you get off, did you look at him and were you just like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I was so mad at him. And he's like, Ashton, I'm sorry. I was in the middle of a tournament. We were winning. And I'm like, you don't know this stranger that you're playing with. And even if you do,
who cares?
It's 2:00 on a work day, dude. Like, I was so mad at him.
That is terrible. Oh
yeah.
my God. Well, Peyton did something similar. Like he played, well, I will say this is the difference between Peyton and Clay. We actually in the when we recorded it didn't, whatever. We talked about this, but so Peyton is similar in the sense of like he likes video games or whatever, but Clayton only plays one game, right? Peyton goes in phases.
One game.
He's drilled in this one game. Peyton, he goes through phase. I think he gets bored too. Like he'll get into that cyberpunk game. It's like Grand Theft Auto, but in the future.
Robot cowboys.
It's like, oh no, the cowboy one's a different one. It's like,
oh, okay.
Think of Grand Theft Auto way in the past. So
yeah.
Like a cowboy. So I call that one the cowboy game. But then in between, he's big into sports games. So he'll do like Madden, and it's seasonal. Like, I don't know if he'll do like Madden during football season. And then now he's on to MLB, which he hates baseball. I don't know why he plays MLB, but he likes the game. So whatever. So this one time he's playing the cowboy one. And we're like literally trying to leave the house. Like we're trying to go somewhere and we're running late. And I'm like, he was ready and he's just playing video games while I'm like getting ready or whatever. And I'm like, hey, we have to go. Like you did 5 minutes. Okay. We need to leave 3 minutes, like whatever. And then finally I'm like, we are going to be late. What is so important? This is a game that's not like online. You could pause this and leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is so important? Like, seriously? And he's like, well, I'm just trying to win these moccasins. I was like, what? And then he like starts laughing because he knows how ridiculous. And he's like, fuck, I'm turning this off. And I was like, well, good. We need to leave anyway. So,
did he ever get the moccasins?
I think he did because the next morning I was like, did you?
Yeah, probably later that night.
And he was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, okay.
Okay, good. I'm proud of you.
You gonna win a jacket next? Like, I don't like. And like, what he was doing was like, he was hunting. He was trying to find a certain bird to shoot or something, and that's what won the moccasins. And like, I was like, well, you have those other pairs of moccasins. They're not the same. And I'm like, okay.
That is so funny. I have like a couple other more things, just like funny things Clayton has done while working from home, but I'll save those for other episodes. But I want to hear like other like people listening, like if your spouse also works from home.
Hearing other people talk about working from home with their spouses, it's very interesting. So I want more stories. Like if you guys have more stories about working from home, like tell us. Like we'd love to share them. So
definitely.
Yeah. The next one I have. Are you ready for my story?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, you're ready.
Born ready.
Okay. Ready. All right. This story is funny. It has to do with nursing homes. So if you've worked in a nursing home, these are probably not shocking to you. I originally saw a TikTok where it explained a similar story. And then like I was telling some of my friends And I was like, does this really happen? Like, I'd love to share this on the podcast. I kind of want to confirm, like, before I'm just like telling the world this happens. And one of my friends was like, no, I worked in a nursing home, and super similar story, and told me the story I'm about to share. So she worked in a nursing home, and it had like, I want to say it's like it sounds state sponsored because it's like there's a morgue next door, and it's all like one building. Like, it's kind of terrible that you like live there and die there, and like it's just kind of terrible. But anyway, so they were the team at the nursing home that was kind of like assistants. Like, you know, I wouldn't say they're CNAs, like they're wiping butts and stuff, but they're transporting patients, and they're like, you know, doing all the like other tasks, like setting up bingo and like, you know, I don't know. So they interact with the patients, but they're not like a medical person, but they're still around the patients enough and have access to things. And so what starts happening is when my friend noticed this happening, they have a meeting, and they're like, hey, we're noticing some theft around here, so like you guys keep your eyes out. Like, they're thinking it's another resident, right? Like, it's someone that lives there that's stealing from other people or whatever. And so stuff starts going missing or whatever. And then it even gets to the point of like people who are burying their family members, like, are noticing jewelry missing from the people that were supposed to be buried.
And it was on them beforehand?
And it was on them before. And so it turns out this girl that was in the same position as my friend, same position, she was the thief. She was like, first it was, you know, stealing from like mainly like the Alzheimer's patients and stuff, which is like morally horrible just in general.
Yeah.
Stealing from them. And then even other residents, as it came out, there was theft. She'd be like, hey, you know, there's a thief going around here, so why don't you let me just hang on to your jewelry and I'll keep it safe? And these vulnerable old people are like, yeah, sure. They trust her because they see her every day.
And they just never saw it again.
Nope.
Oh my God.
Yep. And then it just MIA. And then
do you know if she was like selling it, pawning it, or just like,
I'm assuming pawning it. I have no idea. I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah. And then like, I guess she would sneak over to the morgue and like, you know, somehow she had access there. So she'd steal jewelry off like the dead bodies. Like people, you know, who are like, oh, I want to bury my grandpa with a watch, or I want to, you know, do whatever. She would steal it off of them before the funeral. And then like they're at a funeral and they're going to bury them. Like, there's no time to be like, someone find the watch. And, you know, like there's like the logistics aren't going to happen. You know, isn't that horrible?
She's probably haunted. She better be haunted in a bad way.
This girl's horrible. She said she ended up getting caught and getting fired. And I need to know the full deets of that, because I want to know how they were like, so like, are you stealing from them? And was she just like, yep, bye? Or was she like, no?
Was there camera footage? Like, oh my God, that is horrible.
I did ask that. I said, is there like cameras in nursing homes and stuff? And she said, well, because they're private rooms, like think about it. It's like their apartment space. So we don't have a right to like put cameras in there. Yeah. She said that she may have gotten caught in the morgue part, because that is like, you have people like, you know, cremating people and doing all that. So it's like, you know, they have more footage on that. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But the more funnier stories from the nursing home, what I found was that on a lighter note, after that horrible story. So I was like, well, tell me some funnier stuff, because that's terrible. So bummer. So I guess they had it's pretty common for older people, especially when they first get there and they're like still fairly mobile, sneaking into each other's rooms. And like it's just like a big like hookup sesh. Like, it's like old people sneaking in each other's rooms, getting the groove on.
Oh my God, they're like teenagers.
They turn to teenager, because most of them, their spouses have died. They're like, whatever. And like, I guess the bad part is these people that, you know, work frequently in their rooms, like they caught them often because these old people couldn't hear them knocking on the door. And
oh my God,
they'd be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, that is so horrible.
Yes. And it's a big thing, because it is like, hey, you guys can't like do that. But then the residents are like, F you, we pay all this money. And it's like, well, yeah, but you can't like have an old people orgy, like, you know,
disgusting,
horrible, right? Like it's
well, and I thought I've heard before that, like, actually, no, I've heard that the Olympic Village Actually, no, not for STDs, but apparently the Olympic Village like has a bunch of free condoms because it's all these hot athletes
And they all hook
there.
up. Yeah.
But I've heard that nursing homes have horrible STD rates because they're like, well,
Hmm.
we're not getting pregnant. So, but you like that.
Yeah.
I like, are
Oh
there like
yeah.
nursing home hotties or like, does
I
ever, I don't know,
guess. I know
the lady
Peyton's
who's been getting
grandma's
Botox?
because I told the story to Peyton before. I told it on here, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh yeah, no." He said his grandma before she passed, she was in a nursing home, and there was an old man that it wasn't freaky like full orgies or anything, but he was making his rounds with the old ladies. Like
Oh my
he'd
God.
come by and be like, "Yeah, like I'll fix your sink or what," and it's like, I mean, we pay for this. Like there's people that'll
Yeah.
do this. But he just yeah, he was making his rounds and he'd move on from one old lady to the next. And sure enough, he was trying to kind of hit on Barb, and she was like, I know what you're all about. Get the hell away from me. Like
Get out of here, Bill. Oh
get out
my
of here.
God.
I think
That
his
is
name
so
was
funny.
Bill. Nursing homes, like don't sleep on those people because they're
Freaky.
freaky. They're,
Oh my God.
they're freaky.
Gross. I guess every rose has its thorn. I mean, you might get all your jewelry stolen while you're having an orgy. I don't know. Oh my God. That's
She
horrible.
knows that they're all having an orgy, so she sneaks
It's
in the other
time.
rooms. But I find that job interesting because I think being around old people,
Yes.
you could have some cool stories from that because you deal with like older people that have lived life, and that could
Mhm.
be cool. So if you have more nursing home stories, I would love to hear because it was funny. I was laughing my tail off the entire time.
Yeah.
So
My last story today, it's another work from home Clayton story. Again, from that 2 weeks. A lot happened in that 2 weeks
wow.
that we were together. And I was like, you know what? I love him so much. I fully see how a lot of couples broke up over COVID because you're like not used to being around each other 24/7. And by the end of it, I'm like, don't look at me. Like, I'm going upstairs
You're like,
to
this
one
is
of the
gonna be
conference
great,
rooms.
and then you're like, "F you! I want out of this."
Yeah. Stop. Can you not breathe so loud? Like, can you take your boots off? Like, I'm sick of this. But yeah, so there was one day, again, with the same manager who I'm not on this team anymore. But I'm having my one-on-one again. And I get same thing. I tell Clayton, hey, I have my one-on-one in 5 minutes. My camera's going to be on, just so you know. And I tell him this specifically because, he was lounging out, comfort of his own home. And he he was only wearing these very cute little red boxer briefs. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I'm like, you don't want to get dressed for the day? That's fine. I'm already sick of the desk thing. At least I have the desk. At least I have that today. I tell him, hey, my one-on-one's coming up. Camera's gonna be on, just so you know. And so
like pick a side, like either you're gonna stay on the couch or you're
yeah,
gonna go to bed.
exactly.
Like you need to pick now. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's sitting on the couch, so I can see him out of my peripheral. And I start my meeting with my manager, and we're just talking like business as usual. And I see this little red figure like move to the side of me. And I know immediately, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to walk behind me. And so all of a sudden, like I get very close to the camera, try to take up like as much space in the camera as much
your
as
boss
I
was
can.
like, that was
my
very
boss
obvious.
at the time. Yeah, very obvious. And he's a guy. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredibly embarrassing. I knew him pretty good, but like not like he's my boss. Like I'm trying to keep it professional. And so I jumped to the camera and I'm like, oh yeah, so like I totally lose my train of thought and still I didn't do a good job of hiding Clayton because you can see him walking clear as day in his undies behind
So did
me.
he run across the screen? Like did he run behind you or did he
wasn't that fast. No. It was like a walk, like a normal walk. Not like
like even in a hurry.
Not even in a hurry. I was going to call him the Flash, but he wasn't that quick. Yeah. And so I'm just mortified. Of course, I like can't focus on anything now. So I'm trying to recover and be like, oh yeah, like, sorry. What'd you say? And at this point, I don't know because he's not really reacting. So I don't know if he has seen it or like if he hasn't, because I'm like, I can either own up to it or just kind of ignore it.
You gotta just own it at that point, right? Like you're like, I'm sorry.
And I can't stop laughing. Like I'm laughing so hard for no reason, maybe. And so finally I'm just like, I am so sorry. That is so embarrassing. I'm so sorry that just happened. And I know he saw because his response was, oh my God, haha, like no worries. I've heard of like other funny stories of spouses like trying not to be in video and like crawling under, but you can see them. So I'm like, oh my God, he absolutely saw Clayton walk by in his underwear. And I'm like, I swear, like I was just working beforehand. Nothing was happening. He just looks like that. He just lives like
Oh
that.
my God.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything like that happen because I'm like alone. Like we
Yeah.
may like if Miller's home and he's sick, like you may see like a head like
Yeah. From
running
now on,
around.
I always blur my backgrounds. So at least like
Safe.
you can't see like outright underwear, but
You would just see
yeah.
like a blurry like blob of
Yeah.
like red. Like
Yes.
that is so
Very
funny.
fun. So it hasn't happened since.
Oops.
But also he's in office, which is really nice.
My last one is kind of crazy. And
I'm excited. Is it the one we did
it's
last
the one
time?
from Papa, from our grandpa.
Ooh, this is such a
So
good one.
we have heard the story most of our lives. So and if you really like hot dogs, I would turn off the episode.
Look away.
now.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, like you're on the fence about hot dogs and you want to know how they're made, maybe, or if you don't like them, you're gonna like the story. So our grandpa, who he actually went on to be like a fireman, like he was like a fire chief in Kansas City and all this stuff. And he had like on the fire department, he had a couple of other like side jobs that he'd do, but as far as full-time jobs, this was the only other like real job that he had, and it lasted days, not even a week at least.
I think
a day maybe. Okay. So his dad worked at this place. It's like a butcher. I consider it a butcher because it's like, imagine a large room, the sides, like it kind of slants in the middle into like almost like a trough of the room. And then on the both sides, there's a conveyor belt carrying pigs like into the room. And then the butchers would carve it up, you know, they'd make their cuts or whatever, and then it'd move back down the line. Right. So they're keeping the good cuts with them. And then they're tossing the junk, the intestines, like the stuff that like isn't going to be packaged to sell. They're throwing it in the middle. Okay. So why this is all in a trough. Okay. There's a dude in the trough in like basically a rain outfit, like a raincoat and a hat and a big floor squeegee.
And goggles, thank God.
And goggles, thank God. Because I mean, like I'm talking, this is big. Like Papa makes it sound like there's like half a dozen butchers on either side, maybe more. Like maybe it's like a dozen on each side. So it's this huge room with a big trough in the middle. And so his job is to take the squeegee, you know, there's whatever, they pushes it all. So he's getting intestines thrown on him, guts thrown on him, the nasty shit. I don't think like the head and the spine and all that goes, but I know all the intestines and the internals go.
Yeah.
So he's down there in a rain suit, squeegeeing all this shit into the other side of the room, right? And that part funnels in to the hot dog machine. So his job is to take all that and shove it into the machine that like grinds all of that crap up and forms it into hot dogs. And so, you know, for a guy that worked on the fire department and dealt with really gross stuff, for him to only work that job for one day tells me that hot dogs are gross. And I don't eat hot dogs.
It literally sounds traumatizing. You're getting rained on by pig parts. And just like what if something hits you in the head and you're like, oh my God, like
better make it into a hot dog. Like that's super gross.
Oh my God, disgusting. I hope they make them different now. Cause like he was maybe like 18, 19 at the time. It was right out of school.
He would have been like, 18, 19.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they make them differently now, but still after he told us this story, and they would feed us hot dogs like all the time at the pool. Yeah. Now knowing what I know, I'm like, pass. Even if it's gross. Different, pass.
Well, and like, think about like, I mean, when they say all pork or all beef, does that just mean like these ones were all pork because they were made of pig parts?
Yeah. Tricks of the trade right there, people. If anyone does this job now, I would love to know if it's better or worse. Hopefully there's not like a squeegee man in the middle. Hopefully it's like a machine or something. But,
I would hope, but God, whoever has done that job for more than a day, we want to have you on the podcast.
Please. Oh my God. And I remember Papa telling us that his dad was so mad at him because he worked so hard to get Papa that job. And he was like, really, a day? And he's like, well, you do it. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. He was like,
I'm better
my dad didn't talk to me for a long time after that. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, Papa makes it sound like he gave him no warning he was like, oh, you're going to come work at the butcher with me. And there was no warning of like the fact that he was going to get rained on pig blood all day.
Mm-hmm. Horrible.
And he's like, and then you come home, you smell like meat and like just nasty, like, yeah.
Even worse than the Subway smell.
Yeah, Subway. I'm good on that for the rest of my life.
So. Yeah. So what we do want to have Papa on eventually, once we can figure out how to actually record in person, because he has some crazy through all his different years on the fire department and just different jobs. Great stories.
He's got some good ones. So we're gonna bring Papa on. And so be ready for that. We'll give him some whiskey for coming on, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And get him to talk.
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Ashton, and we'll see you next time. Bye. That one is the worst one. That's it.